These are the latest images that we have from Kabul as a result of that U.S. military airstrike that was carried out just a short while back, targeting ISIS Khorasan's suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out an attack at the Kabul airport. Remember, earlier the United States had confirmed that it had carried out an airstrike targeting ISIS Khorasan terrorists. 2 logistics experts were killed in that attack that took place in eastern Afghanistan. That U.S. drone strike had targeted the ISIS Khorasan outfit, which had claimed responsibility for the 26th August explosion that took place at the Kabul airport. These are images from that residential area where this U.S. military airstrike took place just a short while back, very close to the Kabul airport, targeting a suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out an attack at the Kabul airport. As reports had indicated, and as the U.S. had also suggested, there was a credible threat of another attack taking place at the Kabul airport. And the U.S. military airstrike is now confirmed to have targeted an ISIS Khorasan suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out an attack at the Kabul airport. These visuals showing the vehicle that was targeted in that U.S. military airstrike. This vehicle was to be used for the suicide attack at the Kabul airport just about 72 hours after that horrific attack on the 26th of August. Remember, over 180 people were killed in that explosion that took place at the Kabul airport. 13 U.S. service personnel were also killed in that attack. The United States had then, in a retaliation, carried out an attack, a U.S. drone strike, which targeted the Islamic State Khorasan group. 2 logistics experts were killed in that attack. An extremely sensitive time, crucial few hours ahead for the United States operations as far as the evacuation efforts are concerned as well. 48 hours to go for the August 31 deadline to expire. Remember, the Taliban had said that the August 31 deadline is a red line for the United States to pull out its troops and to completely leave Afghanistan. In the midst of those frantic evacuation efforts, the Kabul airport, which has been the epicenter of that very evacuation effort, was targeted by the ISIS Khorasan terror outfit on the 26th of August. 13 U.S. service personnel, 180 people, over 180 people were killed in that attack. Followed by the latest developments that we are seeing unfold in Kabul, a U.S. military airstrike taking place very close to the Kabul airport. This U.S. strike targeted a suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out a suicide attack at the Kabul airport. A child has unfortunately been killed as a result of this U.S. military airstrike that's taken place. That is also a confirmed development. Earlier reports had indicated that a rocket attack had occurred in this residential area close to the Kabul airport, followed by reports of a U.S. military airstrike. But at this point, it is confirmed, it is reportable that this is a singular incident, a U.S. military airstrike that has taken place. And these are the images as a result of that very U.S. military airstrike, which targeted the ISIS Khorasan suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out an attack at the Kabul airport. This vehicle that you're seeing was the target of this U.S. military airstrike. A loud explosion that was heard just a while ago in Kabul that had once again sent tensions escalating at a sensitive time like this, just weeks after the Taliban takeover, as the evacuation deadline is fast approaching. Tensions are only mounting. The uncertainty that has gripped Afghanistan is only rising with each passing day. The future of Afghans extremely precarious at this point, given the instability that we are seeing on the ground. The 26th August explosion was once again a reminder of what things are looking like in Afghanistan. The ISIS Khorasan terror outfit had claimed responsibility for that explosion. Now the US has carried out yet another strike targeting ISIS Khorasan terrorist, a suicide bomber who was on his way to carry out another attack at the Kabul airport just about 72 hours after the first one that took place on the 26th of August. The US had, remember, also carried out a drone strike targeting the ISIS Khorasan earlier. The Pentagon had said on Saturday that it had killed 2 high-profile targets who were logistics experts for the terror outfit and injured another in a drone strike that took place in eastern Afghanistan. This was in retaliation for the suicide bombing. As per the latest that we know at this point, this was a US military strike in Kabul, very close to the Kabul airport. The suicide bomber was on his way to carry out this attack at the Kabul airport. The smoke billowing out of this residential area. Unfortunately, 1 child is confirmed to be dead as a result of this US military strike. The US strike targeted terrorists of the ISIS Khorasan group that had claimed responsibility for the August 26 explosion at the Kabul airport, in which over 180 people were killed. 13 US service personnel were killed as a result of that explosion. The Kabul airport, remember, has been the hub of the evacuation efforts that have been underway. The United States has just about 48 hours to go for that deadline to expire. The Taliban had reiterated time and again that the deadline will not be extended. In the midst of the frantic evacuation efforts, the 26th of August witnessed that horrific explosion at the Kabul airport. The US had then warned that another attack was very likely at the Kabul airport, and just a while ago, the US carried out a military strike targeting ISIS Khorasan suicide bomber, targeting a suicide bomber belonging to the ISIS-K outfit. 1 child killed as a result of this attack, as per the latest coming in. The ISIS Khorasan suicide bomber was on his way to the Kabul airport to carry out an attack. This piece of footage that we are getting to you showing the car, the vehicle that was targeted by the military airstrike. The bomber was traveling in this car to carry out that attack at the Kabul airport just 48 hours before the US is all set to completely pull out from Afghanistan. The US had promised that this will be an attack that will be retaliated against, and on Saturday it had confirmed that it had killed 2 high-profile targets who were logistics experts for the ISIS Khorasan group. In just a short while from now, we are also expecting a press briefing from the Pentagon to further elaborate on this airstrike that was carried out in Kabul just a while ago. Initial details were sketchy. Reports had suggested that there was a rocket attack in this residential area close to the Kabul airport. At the same time, reports had emerged of a US military airstrike. But at this point, we can confirm to you that it was one incident, not 2 separate incidents. It was one incident, being the US military airstrike targeting the suicide bomber. This residential area where this attack took place, this airstrike took place, targeting the suicide bomber belonging to the ISIS Khorasan terror outfit. The United States carrying out this military strike, targeting this vehicle that you see on your screen, in which the suicide bomber was traveling to carry out that attack at the Kabul airport at this sensitive time, just 72 hours after the Kabul airport had witnessed that massive explosion which had killed over 180 people, including 13 US service personnel. As we continue to monitor the latest coming in at this point, WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.